Hello, this is Dom from BlackToad Studios, and this is episode 43 of the 83rd Warhost Reinforcement series. For those who are new to this series will document my slow and gradual growth of my word-bearer force, which will eventually become an epic army in itself. And so what we do is we set myself a painting challenge to go through and paint. A little bit of background why I painted it, how I've painted it, and what's next on the paint station. So those who were in for episode 42, we saw the Chaos Stargate. The Chaos Crown was on the paint station to be painted. It had sat in the background for a while, undercoated, but never painted. So I decided to paint that. I also painted a few other models that were not word bearers. So we'll have a look at those as well. Hopefully it might interest you what I've also been up to. And then we'll see what is next on the paint station that will be joining the word bearer force. Okay, so let's have a look to see what the crown looks like now. So here we are, the completed Noctilith crown, which has joined the 83rd Warhost, and I'm very proud how this turned out. Actually, it's a bit of an intimidating model to start with. I'm not very good at painting black, well, I haven't had much practice, sorry, and so I've kind of done like a stone effect on here using a couple of greys and off-whites just to get a nice effect going. Got a lot of copper on the base here, bit of weathering there on the copper, lots of chains going with skulls. And yeah, I'm happy how it's turned out. It's quite gritty, kind of very much my paint scheme here, and I think it fits in quite nicely with elements of my Chaos Army. I'm really looking forward to try and get this thing on the battlefield, even if it is going to be 9th edition now that I get this on the field. It's quite tough. If you find its rules are on in the Vigilus Ablaze book, and on Vigilus the word bearers are pretty much tasked with protecting these things to make sure that Abaddon's plans all succeeded and summon forth demons, which of course they did. So I think it fits in quite well with my word bearer force. It can fit in nicely into a Vigilus mission if so be it. But as it kind of the keywords really at the moment were chaos rather than heretic Astartes or demon. It kind of aids all of my chaos forces, especially the poor renegades and heretics, as they don't really have many buffs. It'd be quite nice to have that at the back, maybe with some Leman Russes around it, or just a big blob of troops, whatever I fancy at the time. But it's nice to know there is something in the chaos arsenal that I can kind of pull forth to use. So this was my main task, and I think I succeeded. It looks very nice. I'll probably put it up in one of my display cases at some point, and kind of itching to get that on the battlefield. Myself and Tom have got a game planned soon, coming the end of isolation. We're going to try some garden hammer as long as the weather holds out. Right, so as I said, I painted some other things that aren't very chaosy, so let's have a look. Right, so as I said, I wasn't just painting chaos. So I had this squad of Lich Guard sitting around in my cupboard of death, my cupboard of shame, not cupboard of death, cupboard of shame for several months after purchasing them online for a relatively good price. And I decided that it was time to get them painted, and so the Todan dynasty has now received 8 more Lich Guard. So before I had a squad of 5, and now I've got a squad of 8. I'm planning to get at least 1 box, maybe 2 at this point, of the new release for 9th edition. So my Necron forces will be bolstered significantly. Currently I have about 3,000 points of Necrons, so it'd be quite nice to add on top of that and slowly make them into an apocalyptic force in themselves. I don't know if you guys have got much interest in Necrons, but I've always liked Necrons, and to see the new models has just got me very excited for the army. So my Lich Guard essentially would go forwards with my HQ forces and the other squad of Lich Guard and just get into combat with the enemy. I don't think they're necessarily the most lethal currently in 8th edition, but they've definitely got durability, so they can hold their own, especially a squad of 8. It's going to take a little bit to shift them off any objective or any part of the battlefield. So these guys, normally what I've done is I've done a silver undercoat and then really weathered the bejesus out of it, doing lots of washes, like Rise of Rust on here, got copper on the shoulder pads here, don't know how well that comes out, a little bit on the legs, got the blues as well, so I didn't really want to do greens, so my Necron forces essentially lots of rust and blues. But yeah, I love it. I really think this scheme kind of sticks out quite well. They're all on desert themed bases. And yeah, really looking forward to getting these guys on the battlefield as well. I'm really needed to roll some dice, and I think it'd be quite interesting to play a Space Marine army with Necrons in 8th edition and then suddenly launch it straight into 9th and see how well they do. But Necrons weren't the only thing I've painted. I've also painted something else. Let's have a little look at that. Yeah, and finally, for a bit of a laugh and something completely different, I had this orc sitting in my bits box for probably over a decade, and finally got round to painting him. So it's my little blood axe boy. So originally he was cast in 89, I think. And I love this model, and I was just like, maybe I can give him a bit of a cool paint scheme and probably put him on some sort of horrible goblin green base, which I've done. Quite proud how he's turned out. Nice painting a metal model, nice, especially a retro one that I'm quite fond of. And he currently lives on my my monitor. So he's my little mascot at the moment. But yeah, that's another little fun model I've done. So that can explain a little bit what I've been up to since the last Warhost video. Of course, doing a lot of streaming with Tom as we're both on lockdown. We've been doing faction focus Fridays. So each week we take a faction, we look into that faction and what people kind of see out of it and how to collect it. We've also been doing our live streams on a Tuesday night where we do a bit of hobby and chat. So if you guys fancy, come along, do a bit of hobby and chat with us on a Tuesday on our YouTube channel. But yeah, that's what I've been up to. So with all that said and done, let's have a look at the next item that will be joining the 83rd Warhost. Right, so we've seen what I have painted in my time away from you guys. I've also done a bit in the studio, just doing a bit of work, still some decorating to do, and the electrics aren't still working properly, unfortunately. So I'm relying completely on some studio lamps, painting lamps to light up this area. So it's not quite good enough for a battle report, but hopefully soon I will have that repaired and we will be back up and running. Also, the world is slowly turning back to normal, which is great. So what have I got next to paint for the 83rd Warhost? Well, here it is. Oh my goodness! A tyrant. I have got a Chaos Tyrant to paint for my Brotherhood of Zeal, my Chaos Knight force. Really looking forward to this. I said I'd end the Brotherhood of Zeal once I have a Tyrant, and I possibly will. Who knows? I might play the Knights completely by themselves and absolutely love it, and then buy another one. I kind of hope not, but who knows? Look forward to doing that. As I said, a lot of conversion work, and always a joy to paint, I find, the Knights. Hopefully we can see how my paintings come along since my original Knight. I'll put them next to each other, but we'll wait and see. So hopefully it won't take long to get that one painted. Currently in the process of gluing it together, so it is on the assembly desk at the moment, and yeah, good times. Anything else you guys would like to see in the 83rd, please put a comment below. But otherwise, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for the watching. Thank you for the like if you've given me a like. And if you haven't already, give us a little subscribe, and we will see you next time. Take care.